Snow White just bombed at the box office again. How the hell did that happen? You've heard of a movie flopping at the box office, but have you heard of a movie flopping at the box office twice in 2 months? Snow White did just that.
And, you know the saying, go woke, get broke, and Disney's going to lose money on this movie. And I believe it only made less than $1 million in China.
Rachel Zegler just ended her career after massive backlash, sent her ticket sales crashing to zero. She trashed the original Snow White, cursed out Trump voters, and fought with directors trying to rewrite everything.
It wasn't sincere because she's had a long history of saying woke, annoying things. Our new Snow White.
Now the spotlight's gone cold, and she's finally reaping the chaos she proudly created herself.
She's an asshole. That's number one.
You called her a pig?
She's a pig.
Ego, who was supposed to be Disney's next mega princess, the fresh new face of Hollywood, the chosen one, handpicked by none other than Steven freaking Spielberg himself. And somehow she managed to fumble it all in record time. You'd think someone who beat out literal thousands of hopefuls for West Side Story would know how to keep a grip on that golden ticket. But no, Rachel got the role, won a Golden Globe, got crowned the next Disney darling, and then she went full self-destruct mode. It's honestly impressive. Not many people get to star in a Spielberg film, win awards, and still land on everyone's block list by the next election cycle.
I never want it to come off as me being ungrateful for the opportunities I have. I can also be having the greatest time and simultaneously wishing people would stop sending me death.
Let's go back for a second. West Side Story should have launched her into the stratosphere. Critics were loving it. She had the look, the pipes, the youth, everything the industry usually eats up. But guess what? The movie flopped. Like not a little underwhelming box office disaster. No one showed up. And yet Disney looked at that train wreck and said, yep, let's hand her Snow White. Let's give her one of the most iconic roles in animation history and slap her face on everything from dolls to theme park banners.
She's dumb, but maybe she'll learn. You know what? Whatever I called her, it worked.
And here's the real kicker. They framed it as bold and inclusive. This is a statement. They said, well, congratulations, Disney. It was a statement. All right. A statement of how to tank a 100-year-old brand in under a year. Now, once she landed Snow White, all she had to do was keep it together. Smile, wave, say something sweet about the original film, and ride the wave. But Rachel, she thought she was smarter than the entire Disney legacy.
Cartoon was made 85 years ago, and therefore it's extremely dated when it comes to the ideas of women being in roles of power.
She started roasting the 1937 movie like she was on a comedy panel, called it outdated, said the prince was a stalker, basically tossed the original story in the trash like it was beneath her. And then she had the nerve to proudly declare that her Snow White isn't dreaming about true love. No. She wants to be a leader because apparently romance is a dirty word now and fairy tales should come with TED Talks.
What would you say to those who are just kind of overly critiquing the film at this point? You've worked so hard on it. All right. Congrats.
Audiences didn't just roll their eyes. They stormed off. You could practically hear Disney execs choking on their branded coffee cups. You don't spit on the foundation of the very story you're rebooting and expect fans to throw rose petals at your feet. People grew up with this film. They wanted nostalgia, not some revisionist lecture about how love is outdated and princes are creeps. What Rachel thought would sound empowering came across like someone trying too hard to go viral on Twitter.
White is called Snow White in this version of the film because, of course, she is not white as snow, is because she and her family go through a snowstorm and survive the snowstorm, and so it's a mark of her.
But wait, we're not done. Things really went off the rails when the casting controversy dropped like a nuke. Let's just call out the elephant in the room. Snow White is called Snow White because her skin is literally described as white as snow. That's the original text. It's not subtle. So, when Disney cast Rachel, a Latina actress, in the role, the internet didn't just debate, it combusted. Was it about race? Was it about authenticity? Depends who you ask. But Rachel's attempt at damage control made it worse. She came out and said, No, in this version, Snow White refers to surviving a snowstorm. I kid you not, that was her explanation. A fairy tale rebranded into a weather forecast. Critics were like, is this real life? And honestly, even fans who supported her were facepalm.
22-year-old actress faced backlash for her negative views on the original 1937 film and the prince character, which she labeled a stalker. Branding expert warns that Zegler comments could impact the film's reception. She has been accused of gaslighting and dubbed a fake feminist. Disney faces challenges of managing Snow White's portrayal.
The backlash was insane. This wasn't just your usual trolls in the comment section. This was Reddit, Twitter, YouTube, blogs, podcasts, all of them lighting her up. And unlike the Little Mermaid casting mess where Disney managed to at least control the narrative, this one spiraled. It stuck. It wasn't about whether Rachel was talented or not. It was about the fact that she took one of the most well-known fairy tale characters on the planet and acted like she was too cool to respect the source material. And the worst part, it all felt so smug.
Gosh, I saw the well, we didn't even see, but I saw the logo and I went, that's my name. Snow White's up there. And I cried my.
But if you thought the Snow White disaster was peak chaos because political Rachel is a whole different mess. During the 2024 election, when tensions were already sky high, our girl decided to jump in head first, eyes closed. She hopped on Instagram and dropped this gem. Made Trump voters never know peace. Yep, she said that. Millions of people saw it.
I just think it is terrible. She's been brainwashed into believing that Trump is this hateful figure, and to combat it, she released a bunch of hateful messages that said she hopes that Trump supporters never find peace and that Trump never finds peace.
And half the country immediately added her to their mental block list. Like, forget about being a Disney princess. Rachel basically tried to curse half the nation with insomnia.
So she came out and took a large dump on half of the country. Everyone who voted for Trump. I remember her words.
She hopes they know no peace. Or something really.
And that Trump knows no peace.
Mm-hmm.
And she didn't stop there. She followed up saying she feared raising her daughter in a world where Trump was president. Which, hey, personal views are fine. But if you're the face of a family-friendly billion-dollar franchise, maybe, just maybe, don't openly wish misfortune on a huge portion of your potential audience. You're not in a niche art film. You're in Snow White. Disney is built on marketability. Princesses are supposed to be neutral, sweet, and sellable, not out here casting verbal hexes on swing states.
The man's already been almost assassinated twice, so maybe check the rhetoric. Mm. So I attacked her, and then she came out and she said, I apologize. Like, I went too far.
What did Disney do, you ask? Absolutely nothing. They didn't defend her, didn't reprimand her, didn't even put out a limp apology. Silence, which in Disney speak is corporate panic mode. That's not protecting a star. That's waiting to see if the storm dies down so you can quietly back away and pretend none of this ever happened.
Disney star Rachel Zegler, who went on a tirade this week about how terrible everything is now that Trump won, and that she's living in a world where her imaginary daughter that she doesn't have can't have an imaginary abortion in the future. She's very upset about.
And here's what makes it even worse. Rachel's too proud to backpedal. She doesn't apologize. She doubles down. No humility, no grace, just more gasoline on an already burning PR disaster. Instead of making a mature correction, she turns every backlash into another lecture. It's like she wants to prove she's not just an actress, but a thought leader, except no one asked for it. People just wanted a good Snow White movie. That's it. They weren't signing up for political commentary, anti-romance rants, all postmodern rewrites of classic fairy tales.
And we absolutely wrote a Snow White that is
not going to be saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can.
Let's be honest here. Rachel Zegler took what could have been a dream career and treated it like a Twitter thread. She forgot the assignment. Instead of embodying the magic of Disney, she decided to roast it. Instead of uniting fans, she alienated them. And instead of thanking the studio that handed her the role of a lifetime, she made it painfully clear she thought she was above it. The result? Total career implosion in real time. And we're all watching it unfold like a live-action cautionary tale.
Remaking the movie, they just got rid of the dwarfs. Okay,
but what do they call them?
Why would they get rid of the dwarves, though?
Magical creatures.
She was a future of Disney, the ITG girl of 2020, the breakout star who had it all. Now she's the girl who couldn't shut up long enough to keep the castle. And no amount of vocals or Golden Globes is going to save her from a mess she made all by herself. And then came the real financial horror story, Snow White, which, by the way, should have been a slam dunk, turned into a full-blown money pit. You want to know how much this disaster cost? Sit down. $300 million. That's how much Disney threw into this thing. Thanks to endless delays, drama, and reshoots, it's not even just over budget. It's out of this world budget. They basically built a cinematic Titanic, and Rachel Zegler was happily rearranging the deck chairs while it sank.
If you disagree with this sentiment, I don't need your business. Thank you.
Let's talk numbers, because this is where the pain really hits. Opening weekend projections started at a decent 63 to 70 million. Nothing to brag about, but not tragic. But then the internet exploded. People got wind of Rachel's interviews. The political bombshell hit. And suddenly those numbers tanked harder than a Broadway balcony stunt. New forecasts dropped the opening weekend estimate to 4,858 million. Do you know how catastrophic that is for a film that cost $300 million?
Rachel Zegler is extraordinarily woke, but she's woke in a way that's quite deranged.
And wait, it gets worse. In order for this movie to break even, not make a profit, just break even, it needs to hit $800 million worldwide. That's Avengers level. That's Marvel, Star Wars, global fandom numbers. And here's Snow White trying to limp past $50 million while the entire internet's busy roasting the lead actress for torching the brand. This isn't just a flop. This is a flop. Disney executives are probably holding emergency meetings asking if they can just pretend the movie never happened.
She has been accused of gaslighting and dubbed a fake feminist. Disney faces challenges of managing Snow White's portrayal and controlling actors' statements to prevent negative effects on ticket sales. Despite Rachel Zegler's playing the lead role, experts suggest that Disney executive might need to reconsider her suitability for promoting the...
And their red carpet strategy. That was the biggest red flag. Normally Disney premieres are this huge thing. Celebs everywhere. Press crawling over each other, kids in costume. It's like a fairy tale fever dream. But for Snow White, they scaled back everything. A few tightly controlled media outlets, no big stars, minimal publicity. They didn't even start ticket pre-sales until 11 days before release. That's not just last minute. That is studio bracing for impact. That's Disney looking at the explosion and quietly saying, "We'll let her take the fall for this."
Snow White did just that. You see, the movie opened on 4,200 screens back on March 21st. It did $42 million domestic opening weekend, and then it fell off by a significant 66% the following weekend. Over the next 7 weeks, its theater count would dwindle to just 310 screens.
Now, just when you think Rachel might have figured out that her face was already wearing thin with audiences, she decided to try a little Broadway redemption. She signs on to play Eva at London's famous Palladium Theatre, a role once played by absolute legends like Madonna and Patti LuPone. You'd think, all right, clean slate. Time to show the world she's got range. Right? Wrong.
she's an asshole. That's number one.
You called her a pig?
She's a pig. I know, I'm harsh. Sometimes I really
She's
get
a
on
young
her
girl.
Oh, fuck her.
We've called people slam pigs, so.
There we go. Thank you. Anna gets it.
No, I know.
This is a part where it goes from disaster to straight-up parody. In the most infamous performance of the entire show, Don't Cry for Me Argentina, Rachel decides to literally climb out onto a balcony and sing to fans outside. Sounds cute until you realize that the people who paid up to $500 for actual seats inside the theater were watching the whole thing on a TV screen. They were sitting in their velvet chairs staring at a broadcast of their $500 performance while Rachel Serena Ted random passes by on the street.
To everyone who hates when I win, the winged victory came to the Louvre in pieces, and people still line up to see her.
Oh my God.
And I can only hope.
What does that mean?
Yeah, Rachel, we can see your success. The outrage was instant. People were furious. Did I just pay hundreds to watch a balcony stunt? The memes hit Reddit like wildfire. Critics jumped in. Theater kids were foaming at the mouth. And what happened next was a final nail. Ticket sales plummeted. The show went from packed nights to rows of empty seats. And before long, the theater started offering pay-what-you-want options. Some nights were completely free. That's not innovation. That's desperation. That's when you know your reputation is dragging ticket sales into the date.
Despite my cracks and my breaks, and there are many of them, that at every premiere and everything I do, people will wait in line to see.
Absolutely, Rachel. People are waiting in lines to throw stones at you for destroying their money. So, be ready, and let's be real here. Was Rachel singing bad? No. Was her acting terrible? Not exactly. But none of that mattered, because by this point, her reputation was louder than her voice. The audience didn't care about vocals. They cared that she had turned into the face of everything they hated. Smug, overly political, and totally disconnected from reality. The image was already cracked. The damage was already deep. And her Evita performance instead of a redemption arc just added another chapter to the chaos.
On the right side of America can stand the star of this movie.
So yeah, Rachel Zegler's journey from Disney's next queen to theater stunt meme is one for the history books. It's not just a fall. It's a free fall from a glittering castle into a pit of public backlash. She wanted to be taken seriously, to be bold, to reinvent fairy tales and shake up Broadway. And what she ended up doing was alienating the very audience that once rooted for her.
Don't seemingly like your own character, so she comes off as an insufferable, whiny brat.
You thought Rachel's glazed balcony stunt and Snow White doom spiral were the peak of her downfall? No, that was just a warm-up act. Because behind the glitter and press releases, there was a whole different storm brewing. This time backstage. Apparently, working with Rachel's glare is about as relaxing as sitting on a roller coaster built by toddlers. Reports started leaking from both the Snow White set and her Evita production. And let's just say the reviews weren't glowing. Words like exhausting, overly opinionated, and hard to work with started popping up like popcorn at a movie premiere. And not in a charming diva kind of way. More like in a why is she rewriting scenes again kind of way.
Buy it. I don't think they're going to watch it. I don't think they're going to like it.
Every time she speaks, she gets less likable.
This truly is the worst casting, maybe, in the history of the film industry.
And yes, she did exactly that. She tried to rewrite her Snow White lines to modernize them because clearly a character that's lasted over 80 years needed the Rachel's glare polish. Right. According to insiders, she constantly clashed with directors, pushing her own empowered narrative and reshaping the script to fit her personal philosophy. Now, confidence is great, But when your ego is bigger than the actual IP you're working on, you start stepping into dangerous territory. One insider even said she talks like she's smarter than the story. That line alone tells you everything. This wasn't creative collaboration. This was an actress thinking she's a writer, director, and cultural theorist all rolled into one.